Hello and welcome to the Rookie Guide. In this episode, we're going to be talking paid versus unpaid games. Now, essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to give my views on both paid and unpaid games, how they can both hinder and benefit players, and then at the end, I'm going to give my overall, discussion and opinion of what I think is the best option. So first, we're going to go into unpaid games. Now, unpaid games is a great way for new players and new dungeon masters to get involved into the game. You have low expectations, there's not much experience you need. It's a great way just to dip your toe in. For dungeon masters, it's a good way just to get players on board straight away, quick and fast. If you've just got a basic one-shot or a small campaign, especially if you make sure you put all the details in your description of what your campaign is, that's a really good way of getting players on quickly if you're doing a free game. And for players, it's a really good way to find a DM quick. It's a good way to quickly get into games and to start getting experience as a player ready for the future. Now, some of the cons to doing unpaid games. For Dungeon Masters, you're going to get a wide variety of players. You're going to get players that could be experienced, mid-level, rookies, all of them. So be ready when you're doing your campaign that you're going to get a high level of variety in your session. So you need to be ready to not only challenge those that have high experience and know what they're doing, but also be patient and ready to teach those that are not quite as advanced as the others. So you want to be ready and patient and take time with them to make sure they feel that they're involved and that they're not slowing the group down, because that could be a really big hindrance if a player feels like they're making the session worse because of their inexperience. A con as a player, don't get your hopes up. If you're going into a free game, don't get your hopes up. Don't expect the Dungeon Master to be someone like Matthew Mercer or Brennan Lee Monaghan from Dimension 20. It could be a case that you'll get a Dungeon Master that's new to it and still trying to learn. So be patient. If you're just looking for a game, you're going to have to sit through them games that may be a little bit slower than normal. But everyone's in the same boat. So make sure you are patient, make sure you're understanding, and making sure you're taking the time to actually learn the rules and understand everything at a steady pace. Don't get your hopes up and think, oh, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be role-playing, a backstory, and a massive campaign, and we're going to get really famous, and we're going to get on YouTube. It's going to be nothing like that. It's going to be very dumbed down. It's going to be possibly you in a tavern with others, and a fight breaks out. That's maybe what it is, or you're in a pit somewhere, or you've got to rescue a crown or a princess. It might be something like that. So I wouldn't say get your hopes up massively, but still try and enjoy it. But make sure you've got in the back of your mind, this is maybe a new DM, this is a small group, this is a big group. Take your time, be patient, just enjoy it for what it is. The second con I would say for players is that for free games, it's incredibly hard. If you're a player and you're looking for a free game, I've seen it, and it's a thing that I'm trying to that kind of bugs me a little bit on D&D Beyond, is that there's thousands, and I mean thousands of players all looking for the same thing. And I remember before I started streaming, there was months and even a year where I was constantly posting on games to try and get a game, and my thing just got lost in the discussion. It was like, by the time I actually finished typing and posted, there was about 50, 60 more people that had already posted on it. So it's definitely hard as a player to find a game. It might be a case that you go on to becoming a dungeon master and actually running a game and learning how to play through that way. That's how I did it. I've actually never really played a game. I'm a forever DM. So that's how I did it. When I was looking through and I couldn't stand scrolling and I just wanted to get a game started, that's what I did. I put myself out as a dungeon master and said, you know what? I like creating, I like running games and story and stuff like that. So I'll do that. I'll dungeon master a game and see how it goes. So that's unpaid. There's definitely, as I said, there's definitely pros and cons to that. Now we're going to go into the other side onto paid games. Now the benefit of a paid game is that it kind of, as a DM, it not only rewards you for your hard work, but it's a great way to tell your players that you're going to put a lot of effort in. And it's a way that you both understand it. It's basically an exchange. When you make that exchange of money, it's an exchange not just of the payment, but also these players are expecting something amazing, and you know that you can put on something amazing. So as a player, if you're paying a dungeon master to play for games, you know in the back of your mind that dungeon master is going to put a lot of effort and a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that campaign is just right for you and your group. As a dungeon master, if you're it's a great feeling being rewarded, knowing that when you put on a campaign and that you're putting on a game, that this is worthy enough to get paid for, that your players are enjoying it that much that they're going to hire you and pay you for it. So it's a really rewarding thing if you can start getting paid. It's difficult, but it's a really rewarding thing to do as a dungeon master, to start getting paid. Now, the cons to being to a paid game, it's a lot of pressure. We'll start on the dungeon master side. For a dungeon master, it's a lot of pressure. For me, I would imagine it's a lot of pressure that if I was to put out a game and say, okay, I'm paid to play, that means that whether it's pay me weekly or monthly or just whenever you come to a session, that's a lot of pressure. I know that these players are expecting something phenomenal from me, and sometimes that can get overwhelming. It's not for everyone. You know, sometimes if you find yourself struggling, or you're not that creatively, or you're not just very creative, you kind of struggle coming up with these worlds and stuff like that, and you kind of like to stick to the basics or go through a manual, like you can get a lot of manuals. That might be the best way to go first before you start doing a paid game. I would say make sure you build up your experience, and then make sure you have all your knowledge and all the resources and your lot of backup material ready for when you ask for payment and you want to do a paid game. The second thing I would say for dungeon masters is, if you're going to put on a paid game, make sure you're available. It's one of the most annoying things for players if you're a dungeon master and they've paid you their hard-earned cash for you to run a weekly game, for then every other day for you to say, oh, I can't make it, I'm visiting family. No, sorry, I can't make it, I'm doing this. Which is pointless. Sometimes it's not so bad when you're doing a game and it's pay per the session. That can be okay, but it still gets frustrating. So I would say if you're a DM and you're you're advertising that you need to be paid for your services, make sure your schedule is open to that service. Make sure you are available to talk to, available for advice, especially with the players, and available to actually run the sessions. You want to be able to put a good chunk of sessions out there, not in one go, but in, over a certain time period. You don't want to have lots of gaps and spaces, because that's how players lose interest. So that's on the DM side. The cons on the player's side is that if you are paying a dungeon master for a game, be prepared that it can be a lot of work. That dungeon master is going to put a lot of effort into it, and it can be very tricky. It can be sometimes very intense, sometimes too intense. If you're relatively new to playing Dungeons and Dragons, I would say hold back a bit. Maybe look for some free sessions. Don't go straight into paying a dungeon master. Now, that can go both ways. So, best thing I would say is hold back, wait a little bit until you have at least a bit of experience. Until you understand some of the rules, or you have a player that you kind of know in the back of your head, and you understand the mechanics of things, and you understand dice rolls and terms. Once you kind of got the basics of that, then that's when you start looking to maybe ask for a DM to pay, or ask for a dungeon master for a game, and you start paying them to play games or to run your games. That would probably be the best time to do it. But that can also go the best way. Sometimes, if you are wanting a really good game, but you also want a dungeon master that's going to help you and teach you, paying can help that. If you pay someone and say, by the way, I'm a little bit less experienced, I kind of struggle with some of the terms, or I struggle kind of communicating what I want and role playing, so do you think you could help me out with that? If you're paying, that dungeon master should take the time to help you. They should be ready to say, yeah, sure, you've paid me to run a session, of course I'm more willing to help you. I don't want your money to go wasted. It's like I said, it's one of the most annoying things when you're paid a dungeon master for an experience and you get subpar, you get something that's very basic, that's hardly payable, like not worth paying, and they've just kind of taken the money. So those are kind of the cons and pros of it. So I've given my opinions. If you have any differences, go down in the comments and let me know whether you're pro for paying and not paying. Let me know if there's anything I've missed, or if there's anything you disagree with. Do let me know, have a discussion. I'm more than happy to chat with you. So for my overall opinion, I would say if you're new, go free. Okay, if you're new to dungeon mastering or you're a new player, go for free games. Look for free games if you can. And if I would say paid games, I would do either as a group. If you're a bunch of players and you're looking for a dungeon master, that would be a good time to pay. Or if you're wanting something very custom. Also, if you're a dungeon master, I would say if you're a Dungeon Master and you're charging for your service, make sure you've got stuff ready. Make sure you've got a campaign backup. What I mean by that is you've got a blueprint of a campaign, and it can be short, it can be medium, it can be long. So you can. The best thing with this is that you've got a long. Imagine this is a strong pipe that's got a story timeline and the campaign and all the back lore and everything. Okay, make sure you're ready that you can chop up this block or this pipe and chop it up, so it could be a short campaign. You can have it two together and have it a medium campaign, or it could be a long campaign. Make it work all three ways. Also have it changeable. Make sure you have the backstory and certain parts of the map changeable. So it's like a jigsaw piece with many pieces available to it. Make sure you've got at least an outline. You've got the corners and the edges done. You've got a few bits in the middle, but there's other pieces that your players can fill in, and that feels like it's more custom to them. So that's my opinion. I am very much pro for both of them. I think they both have the pros, and I think they both have the cons. But I would just be wary, especially what you're doing. If you're going to a paid game, make sure you're going into something that you know that you're going to get a good service. Do a bit of backstory on the Dungeon Master if you can. If they're a Twitch streamer, that's one thing. I'll mention that now. Actually, you'll get a lot of this in. You'll get a lot of this on DnD Beyond. You'll get a lot of people that are saying that's how I did it. You'll get a lot of people that are advertising, I'm running a YouTube channel, or I'm looking to live stream sessions on Twitch, and I need players. That's usually most of the time kind of pay to play or something like that. So I would say go look at their Twitch, go look at their YouTube, have a look at how they play, what kind of campaigns they do, see if it's something right for you. It can be very annoying that you've paid a Dungeon Master for a game that you're even interested in. It's not stuff that you'd like to do. It's not got anything you want. So just be careful where you put your money. So I'll end that video there. Thank you very much for watching. Any other ideas or anything, topics you'd like me to help discuss or give you some opinions on to help you decide exactly what you want to do, let me know in the comments. As always, go hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all of our Rookie Quest videos, as well as my Rookie Gamer videos. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video when it comes out. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. Right, bye guys.